but not of our prayer lives. This morning we're going to take a look at a couple things. We're going to talk about dangerous prayers, the danger in not praying, in powerful prayer, and what happens when prayer delivers, what happens when prayer is answered. And I'm excited to be here today and share with you as we conclude our look at the book of Judges and the life of Samson. This morning we are going to take a look one more time at Judges 13. So if you have your Bibles, go ahead and get there with me. If you have one of the black English Standard Version Bibles, we're going to be at page 213. Page 213, make it a little bit easy for some folks. And so far we've really discussed his parents, the parents of Samson. Manoah, this unnamed woman, and the barrenness, and just the longing that they had, and then the angel comes and visits them. Today we're really going to look at the life of Samson. What happened to this guy? What happened to this answered prayer? And where it went from there. But first let's take a look at chapter 13, verse 2. It says, "There was a certain man of Zorah, of the tribe of the Danites, whose name was Manoah, and his wife was barren and had no children. And the angel of the Lord appeared to the woman and said to her, Behold, you are barren and have not borne children, but you shall conceive and bear a son. Therefore be careful. Drink no wine or strong drink, and eat nothing unclean. For behold, you shall conceive and bear a son. No razor shall come upon his head, for the child shall be a Nazarite to God from the womb, and he shall begin to save Israel from the hand of the Philistines. Then the woman came and told her husband, A man of God came to me, and his appearance was like that of an angel. It was awesome. I did not ask him where he was from. He did not tell me his name, but he said to me, Behold, you shall conceive a son, and bear a son, and so drink no wine or strong drink, and eat nothing unclean, for the child shall be a Nazarite to God from the womb to the day of his death. Then Manoah prayed to the Lord and said, O Lord, please let the man of God whom you sent come again to us and teach us what we are to do with this child who will be born. And God listened to the voice of Manoah. And the angel of God came again to the woman as she sat in the field. But Manoah, her husband, was not with her. So the woman ran quickly, and she told her husband, Behold, the man who came to me the other day has appeared to me. And Manoah arose, he went after his wife, and he came to the man, and he said, Are you the man who spoke to this woman? And he said, I am. Now, with your words come true, what is the child's manner of life? What is his mission? And the angel of the Lord said to Manoah, Of all that is said to the woman, let her be careful. She may not eat anything that comes from the vine, neither let her drink wine or strong drink, or eat anything unclean. All that I commanded, let her observe. Let her observe. So Manoah prays to God to send this messenger to come back and tell us, I just want to make sure. We want to be completely sure we're doing your plan. See, these are two people who had an emptiness. They had brokenness. They had wanted a child. They had longed for a child. And God sends an angel and he says, hey, it's going to happen. It's going to happen. And instead of what we see a couple times in the Bible where people are given this message and they doubt, these people are faithful. God's going to do this. And they pray. They seek it. And they say, God, tell us, come back. Tell us the plan for our son. Tell us exactly what you need us to know. So we see these people are already pretty faithful. In the Bible, we've had people laugh when they've been told they're going to get pregnant. We've had people who doubt. We've had people who are just like, I'm too old. Just disbelief. These are two faithful individuals. And they are seeking and desiring to know all of it from God. Tell us exactly what we're supposed to do with this little boy. We want to know as much as we can. And they pray. And then this little boy shows up. And he's playing in the dirt. He's gathering up sticks. He's doing the things that little boys do. He usually causes trouble. And he becomes a man. Not just any guy. He's a big, strong, burly dude. And then some bad things start to happen. Some terrible and awful things. Some things that are just insane and foolish. Some things that compromise his faith and the faith of his parents. You see, Samson enters adulthood and he becomes self-serving, self-seeking, like so many of us, and willing to compromise. You see, there are things in this life that it's fine to compromise. Like, hey, you like this restaurant? I like this restaurant. Let's go to a place we both hate, so neither of us is happy. That's fine. Or, hey, you like this car? Let's get that car. There's certain things that are fine. Our faith is not an area where we can have compromise. God doesn't seek a compromising faith from his followers. He doesn't. It displeases him and it is distasteful to him. The life we see Samson live is a life full of compromise. It is a self-serving life of brokenness. This is just enough for God. I'm going to give him just enough. And God is clear in Samson's life and in ours that just enough is not enough. He wants all of it. You see, we all make mistakes in this life. Really, I could preach a whole revival of mistakes in my life, and it would be long and drawn out, and a lot of people would be scratching their heads and probably calling cops by the time I got done. But life is full of mistakes. Samson led a life that was filled with mistakes. A life filled with brokenness. And we don't know the source of his brokenness. We don't know that event. We don't know that moment where it just happened. But know this. We've all been there. We've all had it. And it can exist in all of us at any time. That feeling of brokenness, that feeling of emptiness, that feeling of nothingness. In the first chapter we want to look at, I want to take a look at Judges 14. We see brokenness in Samson, and it leads him to treat his fiancée and her family foolishly. But even before that, it led him to pick a wife that his parents were displeased with. Judges 14 says this. Samson went down to Timnah, and at Timnah he saw one of the daughters of the Philistines. Then he came up and told his father and mother, I saw one of the daughters of the Philistines at Timnah. Now get her for me as my wife. But his father and mother said to him, is there not a woman among the daughters of your relatives, or among all of our people, that you must go and take a wife from the uncircumcised Philistines? But Samson said to his father, get her for me, for she is right in my eyes. His father and mother did not know it was from the Lord, for he was seeking an opportunity against the Philistines. And at that time the Philistines ruled over Israel. Then Samson went down with his father and mother to Timnah, and they came to the vineyards of Timnah, and behold, a young lion came toward him, roaring. Then the Spirit of the Lord rushed upon him, and although he had nothing in his hands, he tore the lion in pieces as one tears a young goat. But he did not tell his father or mother what he had done. Then he went down and he talked with the woman, and she was right in Samson's eyes. And after some days he returned to take her, and he turned aside to see the carcass of the lion. And behold, there was a swarm of bees in the body of the lion and honey, and he scraped it out into his hand, and he went on eating as he went. He came to his mother and father, and he gave some to them, and they ate. But he did not tell them that he had scraped the honey from the lion's carcass. His father went down to the woman, and Samson prepared a feast there, for so the young men used to do. As soon as the people saw him, they brought 30 companions to be with him. And Samson said to them, let me now put a riddle to you. If you can tell me what it is within 7 days of the feast and find out, I will give you 30 linen garments and 30 robes. And they said to him, put your riddle that we may hear it. And he said to them, out of the eater came something to eat, out of the strong came something sweet. And in 3 days they could not solve the riddle. And on the fourth day they said to Samson's wife, entice your husband to tell us what the riddle is, lest we burn you and your father's house with fire. Have you invited us here to impoverish us? And Samson's wife wept over him and said, you only hate me, you do not love me, you have put a riddle to my people, and you have not told me what it is. And he said to her, behold, I have not told my mother or my father, why should I tell you? She wept before him the 7 days that her feast lasted, and on the seventh day he told her, because she pressed him hard. And she told the riddle to her people, and then he said to him, on the seventh day, put someone down, what is sweeter than honey? What is stronger than a lion? And he said to them, if you had not plowed with my heifer, you would not have found out my riddle. And the Spirit of the Lord rushed upon him, and he went down to Ashkelon, and struck down 30 men of the town, and took their spoils, and gave the garments to those who had told the riddle. In hot anger, he went back to his father's house, and Samson's wife, who was given to his companion, who had been his best man. What is sweeter than honey? What is stronger than wine? The riddle. He was furious. You see, Samson had eyes for this woman. We're given the picture that she's pretty attractive. She's the right one. She is the one for me. But there's actually no value in this relationship for Samson. There's no value. She nags him to get the answers to the riddle because these people are pressing her. This is not the kind of family, the kind of people you want to be a part of. They threaten to burn her and her household if they don't get the answer. She has no allegiance to Samson, and she has no allegiance to his family, and she has no allegiance to God. You see, Samson in his brokenness gives in. And instead of establishing a clear relationship with his wife, instead of communicating with his fiancée, this girl that's going to be his wife, he just takes the easy way out. And we see that time and time again in his life. And we see that time and time again in our lives in brokenness. In our brokenness, we sometimes align ourselves with people and things that we shouldn't. We sometimes form allegiance with things that have no place being in our lives. I'm not done, but I wanted to say this. Today, if you are broken, I encourage you to drop the things that you do not need to be aligned with and align yourself with the Lord and His sovereignty. We view Samson as this big, strong guy. He's tough, he's muscular, he's got it going on. But Samson was once a little boy. He was a little boy that people prayed over, prayed for. He was a child that parents poured into. Made sure he was housed, clothed, and fed. They cared about him. And we see this child go into adulthood, and he becomes a broken man. He becomes a murderer, a defiler. He causes a family feud. He is dishonest. He is a sex addict. He is a needy guy who sees himself in despair just because he doesn't have a drink of water. He is one who revels in destruction. He enjoys it. He makes up a little rhyme after he kills 1,000 Philistines with a jawbone. Like he's like, look at me. You see, those people prayed for this kid. They prayed over that little boy, and this happens. This is the life that he leads. This is his life, and it has nothing to do with his parents. I don't think they stopped praying once God said the messenger the second time. Samson made his choice on how to act in these situations. And it wasn't good. Many people were hurt during his lifetime. An ex-fiancée was burned to death. Heartbroken parents and relatives. Maybe people in the neighborhood who heard he was supposed to be a deliverer. This guy? This guy? What started this journey? What started this life of Samson? A man and a wife who were barren. Parents praying. Prayer can be dangerous. Do we realize God's power in prayer? What can really happen when He says yes? Power in God's answers, power in what He withholds from us, that's a hard one. What He says no and He holds back from us. Prayer and asking God for things, for seeking things. These people saw this child, and this is the life that he's living. But there's a privilege in that. Because both of those people, Noah and his wife, were not perfect. They were broken. They were broken. And we have the privilege to go to the Father in our brokenness and seek Him. These two people were praying. They're praying, they're praying, they're praying. And this is how it ends. They didn't realize it was going to end with this. They didn't realize they were going to have this wild, crazy son. They didn't realize they were going to have this guy who enjoyed the things he enjoyed. You see, the danger of that request, of asking God for that child, led to the life that Samson lived. And that's not God using it, but Samson making his choices. And he lived a wild life. Bar fights and wild women. That's what he loved. But in the end, this wild life led to the death of many Philistines. People who were adamantly, vehemently against the Lord. You see, for us, there's power in praying for our life to have meaning. In praying for life to have meaning. We pray for that often. God, use me. God, show me. God, help me. Give me meaning. But here's the deal. We probably don't know what that moment looks like. We don't know exactly what that moment looks like when our life will have meaning. But our brokenness, the life we've lived, the disappointment we've experienced, can be used by God. Can be used by God. Our brokenness can mean something. Loving that son that is wayward. That friend that always makes bad choices. That partner that is unfaithful with their mind and their heart. Loving that person in your life who is so ungrateful, you can barely stomach. You see, those interactions, those moments, are where God can undeniably show His love through our brokenness. Because I don't have to be perfect. My God is. Those interactions where we are broken and we love others are vital to our lives. Thank you, God. Thank you that you can use me despite that I am broken. Thank you that I can love others even though I'm broken. You see, prayer is not something that just started Samson's life and ended Samson's life. Prayer was repeated throughout his life. When he grows up, his parents are praying for him. They didn't stop praying for him after the angel messenger left. This was a couple who were seeking it. They sought God in prayer, and it didn't pan out maybe the way they thought it would. It didn't pan out the way they wanted it for their son. There's probably some parents that are just a little scared right now because you're praying. You don't know what's going to happen. What you're doing, what you're supposed to do. The son didn't live up to what their parents needed, and to a great deal, he didn't live up to what God needed. And in our lives, brokenness will pop up. And we need to pray about it. It pops up and we need to pray about it. Brokenness just shows up. You have a year and it's going great, and then that first year of the month, you gotta be kidding me. I made it to this point. What is God doing? What's going on? My life is falling apart. I lost my job. I lost my house. My loved one died. There will be brokenness that pops up in life, and we need to bring it before the Lord in prayer. I imagine Samson's mom was not praying over him as a child. They didn't do the bedtime story and then she sang a little lullaby. I'm not going to sing. You're welcome. And she's not sitting there and stroking his hair as he's sleeping, and she's praying over him. God, make my son a ladies' man when he grows up. I want him to be a wild bar fighter. I just want this guy to be the strongest man in the world. I want him to be wild, crazy, and just causing chaos. That's not the prayer she had for him. Her prayer was, God, have him be the deliverer you need him to be. God, bless him. Help him to fulfill your will. Just a broken piece of the puzzle. You see, we think we know who we are as individuals. I think I'm a minister. I think I'm a softball coach. I think I'm a contractor. I think I'm a mother. I think I'm a nurse. Our titles, our roles, they are important. They are valuable. But the more we get older, the more we grow, the more we learn about Christ, the more we live, the more mistakes we make, the more these little broken pieces pop up. And we find out really who we are and how broken we are. Man, I'm untrustworthy. And I'm not a good friend. I am not a devoted father. I am a bad mother, a bad daughter. The broken puzzle pieces pop up of who we are. And when they do, that is when we need to seek God in prayer. That's when we need to go to Him. And I'm not saying we can't cover everything in prayer. We can. But I'm saying specifically, our brokenness exists and we need to cover it in prayer endlessly. Even if it starts to look good. Even if you start being the dad you want to be. Even if you start being the Christian you want to be. Even if that relationship becomes prepared. That's when you need to bring it more to God. God, it's good, but I want it to be better because I want it to be your way. I want this thing that is broken to be fixed by you. I can't do it. Samson didn't follow the rules. He ate the honey out of the lion. Should have done that. He killed the guys with the bones of an animal. He doesn't follow the rules, and it doesn't pan out for him. It doesn't pan out for him. So when we're praying over that child, when they were praying over that child, he didn't say, hey, your son is going to go through all these women. He doesn't tell Manoah and his wife what's going to happen. And the same thing for us as the church, as we're looking at some of these students, or as a parent, if you're looking at your son or your daughter, as a grandparent, as an uncle, as an aunt, as a teacher. God doesn't tell you what the end looks like. He just tells you to be faithful now. He doesn't tell you that one day your son is going to grow up to be 17. He's going to save up his money. And he's going to buy his car. And I'll drop you now. He's going to run over a 4-year-old on his bike. He doesn't tell you that. He doesn't tell you that you're going to start dating that guy you've had your eye on. Man, that one, And he's going to be crazy. And he's going to come to your house one night. He's going to break the window in your car. And you're going to have to get a restraining order. He doesn't tell you those things. He just asks you to pray. He just asks you to seek Him. Those are not insane scenarios. Those things have happened. They exist, and I've seen them. Samson's parents asked God, what do you need us to do with this blessing? Not how will it end, but what can I do right now? And that's our question. What can I do right now? Even broken as I am, what can I do right now? Not, hey Lord, how's it end? And then if I know how it ends, I'll help you out. What can I do right now? What can I do with this blessing? I am broken, God, but you are not. And they take that consistently before the Lord, and we need to take that consistently before the Lord. I say again, I am broken, God, but you are not. In these chapters, we talk about Samson, and we're looking at who he really was. Who this guy really was. His brokenness. And in that brokenness, we see glimpses of collateral damage. Because usually when something gets broken, another thing gets broken, or somebody gets cut, or, hey, Mom, I broke the table, but accidentally knocked down the lamp, that knocks down the pitcher, and cracked the whole TV. Now we've got to buy a whole brand new liquor. That kind of stuff happens. But we see in verse 3, Samson has this conversation with his parents. But his father and mother said to him, certainly you can find a wife among your own relatives and among all our people. You shouldn't have to go and get a wife from the uncircumcised Philistines. But Samson said to his father, get her for me, because she's the right one for me. Now God is doing something here. He is going to use this to get some justice on the Philistines for His grace and for His glory. But what Samson's parents do is right too. They say, hey, son, this is not the path you need to go down. This is not where you need to be. This isn't who you should be with. This isn't who you should seek. And yet, still in this broken choice, this happens. It says later on in the chapter, then Samson's father accompanied him to Timnah for the marriage. Samson hosted a party there, for this was customary for the bridegrooms to do. His father goes with him on this journey. His father goes with him on this broken choice. He doesn't have to. He's the patriarch of the family. He can just say, son, we're done with you. But he doesn't. On the path, he's with his son. He's walking with his son. And I imagine the whole way down there, he's not saying one word about this bride. Man, remember that time we killed that boar? Man, that was a great shot, son. But inside his mind, he's thinking, this isn't good. This isn't where we need to be headed. This isn't what is going to be good for you, son. Remember that time, that great day we had at the lake? Man, it was great. It was so much fun. Son, this is just going to get hard. I think Manoah, right here, shows exactly who our Heavenly Father is. He is walking on the path of brokenness with us. His hand is on our shoulder. It's around us. Manoah is a godly man here, and I think right here, in this journey down to get this bride, he has never acted more godly. He's doing exactly what God does for us. He walks by his son in a broken choice. He walks by us in our broken choices. God does that for us. I'm here with you. That marriage fell apart before it even started. The woman gets given to another guy. She eventually gets burned alive. Just some craziness happens. And Samson kind of goes off the deep end. And he ends up in the arms of a woman named Delilah. And it's pretty clear the relationship they had. And we know what happened. They were not husband and wife. And people talk today about how life has got worse. People talk about how the world is bad. I honestly don't think so. I look at the Bible, and the Bible's full of sin. Sin is sin, and it will always be sin. No matter how we try to sugarcoat it or please it or placate ourselves with it. And at the bedrock of sin is brokenness. At the bedrock of sin is brokenness. Whether it happens in Delilah's house or in her bedroom or right here in the city of Greensboro. It is displeasing to God. It is displeasing and distasteful to God, and He hates it. Brokenness then and brokenness now. Not a lot has changed. That place that Samson found warmth in, comfort in, love in, will eventually led to his downfall. It was his downfall. It was Samson's unwavering self-seeking attitude, his pursuit in his brokenness of me. One night the Philistines come in, and he's finally given Delilah the real secret to his strength. And he's done for. They take him, and they blind him. They pluck his eyes out. Disgusting. Painful. But poignant. A guy who is all about himself can no longer see the world through his eyes. It says this in verse 23. It says, the rulers of the Philistines gathered to offer a great sacrifice to Dagon, their god, to celebrate. They said, our God has handed Samson, our enemy, over to us. When the people saw him, they praised their God, saying, our God has handed him over to us, the one who ruined our land and killed so many of us. I want to stop here for a second. I think we only get a small glimpse of all the stuff that Samson has done. I think there's probably been some more stuff here where he's taken some Philistines out. They do not like this guy. They hate him. And when they really started celebrating, they said, call for Samson so he can entertain us. So they summoned Samson from prison, and he entertained them. And they made him stand between these two pillars. And Samson said to the young man who held his hand, position me so I can touch the pillars that support the temple. Then I can lean on them. Now the temple was filled with men and women, and all the rulers of the Philistines were there. There were 3,000 men and women watching Samson entertain them. And Samson called to the Lord, O Master Lord, remember me. Strengthen me just one more time, O God, so I may have revenge against the Philistines for my two eyes. You see, Samson pushed down those pillars, and he killed more Philistines with his death than he ever did in his life. Samson's life started with prayer, and it ended with prayer. Today we each have a chance to do that. We have a chance to start a new life of prayer, to leave behind the pit of brokenness. We each have a chance to end an old life in prayer. The thing that's constantly been breaking us, constantly been destroying us, constantly been tearing us down. Lord, I'm leaving it in your pool. You can cover it. You can drown it. God, only you can do it. I'm going to ask the band to come up. I've got a few more thoughts, but they just want to come and get started. In Hebrews 11, we actually see Samson mentioned as a great faithful guy. This guy, this wild man, a great faithful guy. And I don't know why it says that his faith was great. I don't know. But it says this in verse 21, and it's got me thinking. The Philistines captured him and gouged out his eyes. They brought him down to Gaza, and they bound him in bronze chains, and he became a grinder in the prison. Now, a grinder in the prison is going around, and they're crushing wheat with a wheel. And so he's going around in a circle. And he's going around in another circle, and another circle. And he has no eyes. He's with these foreigners. And I assume Samson really started to maybe think about his life. He maybe really started to reflect on, man, what got me to this point? And maybe one time around the wheel, he says a good prayer. And the next time around the wheel, he sang another good prayer. And he started to pray and pray and pray and pray. And I can picture him broken and blind, walking in a circle, praying every turn around that wheel. Praying to the God of his father. The God that declared him to be a deliverer. Every blind step of faith, another prayer. A prayer for the life that was lived to the God who is. Grinding away in faith. Man, if there's something that describes our life, it's that. We're walking around the wheel, blind to what God is going to do, but we're praying in faith. We're praying in faith. God, you are the source of my strength, Samson says. God, you are our source of strength. And maybe some doubt started to seep in. Maybe you've been doing this a couple of years. And then comes Hank. Come on, man, you're coming up here. You're coming up here for everybody to see. And he's placed between these two pillars, and he pushes them over. And he kills these Philistines. You see, there are some folks here today who are blind. There are some folks here today who have some pillars in their life that they need to knock down. But they can't do it alone. They need God to be the source of their strength. And there are some godly folks who've been praying and praying and praying and praying and praying. I'm telling you not to stop. I'm telling you, you feel broken, you feel let down. God is listening. God is who He says He is. God is who He says He is. There's some folks who took some stuff out of the pool last week, and we've been praying for you. And there's some folks who have stuff that they need to set down spiritually at the foot of the cross. Some stuff that has been breaking their lives, some brokenness in their lives, knowing that God is the only one who can restore it. God is the only one who can make it valuable in their life. Some of it has no place there at all. You know that. This morning, if you need anything, any prayer to be mentioned about anything in your life that is breaking you, or that has left you broken, calm down. Myself, Les, Jeremy, Brother Sam, Brother Paul will be glad to pray with you. And this morning, if you finally know that you don't need a worldly deliverer, there isn't a job out there that's going to make you complete. There isn't a partner out there that's going to make you complete. Not a car, not a house, not anything. If you want the deliverer that was sent for all of us, who was stronger than Samson will ever be, but showed it through His selfless sacrifice on the cross, I encourage you to come down and be washed in the blood of the Lord, Jesus Christ.